If you haven't registered to vote, now's the time. Gina Moon for the New York Times. Good morning on this breezy Thursday. A public service announcement: tomorrow is the last day to register to vote in November's general election. It's really easy to do, but the behind-the-scenes work to get New Yorkers to exercise their right to vote is quite the challenge. The city's Campaign Finance Board is a nonpartisan and independent city agency that educates and engages with voters before, during and after an election to ensure, ultimately, that we all have a voice when it comes to choosing our leaders and telling them what problems need solving. Everything we do at the Campaign Finance Board is aimed at empowering voters and amplifying their voices in our democracy, said Katrina Shakarian, a board spokeswoman, whom we met and saw in action at the mayoral debate on Tuesday. But in New York City, voter turnout is abysmally low, she said. So after the 2016 election, the board conducted public opinion research to better understand why people don't vote, especially in local elections. Matthew Sollers, the board's director of public relations, said, "What we heard from people is that it's not that they're apathetic, it's not that they don't care, it's that they need more information. They need more resources about how to vote and why it matters." So here are some useful links, courtesy of the Campaign Finance Board. The Campaign Finance Board and its NYC Votes program provide guides on everything from how to vote and impartial information on the candidates to how to run for office. Not sure whether you're registered to vote? You can check your status here or at 1-866-VOTE-NYC. Here's what else is happening. Weather: and we're down to the 50s. We're expecting temperatures around 59 today, with cloudy morning skies making way for sunshine in the afternoon. Hang in there, folks. It's almost Friday, and this weekend's looking lovely. In the news, a Roman Catholic priest who served in Maspeth, Queens, is accused of sexually abusing 23 girls between 1972 and 1994. New York Times: Linda Porcaro, left, a former teacher at Holy Cross Roman Catholic Church, and Robert Watson, an abuse survivor advocate, at a news conference outside the church on Wednesday. Joshua Bright for the New York Times. 8 lawsuits have been filed against New York colleges and universities arguing that the internet should be accessible to users with disabilities. New York Times: the State University of New York has approved regulations that will allow some schools to train and approve their own teachers. New York Times: the Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus R. Vance Jr. defended the decision not to prosecute the movie producer Harvey Weinstein on charges that he touched a woman's breasts in 2015. New York Times: the Yankees beat the Cleveland Indians 5-2, and are headed to the ALCS. New York Times: MetroCard machines have experienced a number of problems this week, and may have charged customers without issuing MetroCards. Gothamist, a state-run film studio near Syracuse, came with the promise of 350 jobs. 2 years after it opened, the jobs, and rent payments, failed to materialize. New York Times: a New York bartender has won nearly $400,000 so far on Jeopardy! Daily News: the New Yorker cartoonist Rose Chast shares her neuroses, joys and phobias in a walk around Manhattan. New York Times: Roz Chast in Bryant Park. Vincent Tullo for the New York Times. Today's Metropolitan Diary: lesson learned in a taxi. For a global look at what's happening, see your morning briefing. Coming up today, join leaders in government and public policy for a conversation on healthcare issues in New York, at a State of NY Health Forum at the New York Academy of Sciences in Lower Manhattan. 8 a.m. to noon. $45 tickets here. The lasting impact of gay men on food, a panel discussion on James Beard and others, in Fales Library at New York University. 4 p.m. $10 suggested donation, a screening of The Mummy, followed by a tour of the Soulful Creatures, Animal Mummies in Ancient Egypt exhibition, at the Brooklyn Museum. 7 p.m. $25, writer from The Daily Show with Trevor Noah, perform improv comedy at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in Chelsea, 9:30 p.m. $7, alternate side parking is suspended. For more events, see the New York Times Arts. Finally, good fences make good neighbors, in Washington Square Park. Spencer Platt, Getty Images. Fences are going up across New York. The provocative Chinese artist Ai Weiwei, a once and future New Yorker, is unleashing one of the biggest public art projects in his repertoire across the city today. His exhibition, Good Fences Make Good Neighbors, is intended to make us think twice about the simple concept of a fence. The fences, which generally create boundaries or borders, are meant to elicit reflections on pervasive, present-day issues like the exclusion of immigrants, the global refugee crisis, or our dangerous social and political divisiveness. You can see the centerpieces of Mr. Eyes project, composed of more than 300 works of art commissioned by the Public Art Fund, along the southeast corner of Central Park.